What's up, guys? Jake from MACkite. Today I have my first impressions of the new Reedin V3 Supermodel kite right here. We just got these in. I really liked the V2. Probably my biggest complaint. I thought it was lacking a little bit on the low end, but it was a really fun, awesome kite. So I was excited to get on it. The V3 blew me away. I freaking love this kite. It was a really good session today. We started off, it was a flat water day right at the Ferrysburg Pier. Hardly anybody else on the water. We get our kites up there and it's pretty light. Not great for a morning session, you know, especially when the water's super cold. That elevates the chances of swimming. You just want to be powered up. But it was a really good test to see how this kite does in light wind. And honestly, I was pretty impressed. I think had we added some chop, it would have been a little bit dicey and I might have been walking. There are kites that drive upwind slightly better, but still I felt like there was an improvement over the V2. From there, the wind built and we got into a really awesome boosty freestyle session, and that's where this kite really excels. So if we're to look at kites, this one kind of falls in the category of all-arounder, but I think it's really at the edge of that spectrum. It can cross over into the surf, into freestyle, but it still does have enough characteristics where it can stay in the all-around category. And I think that's where brands are trying to position their kites these days, where you get a bit more performance, a little bit of a faster turning kite, but you don't fully commit to a discipline-specific style of riding. And this kite does a really good job with that. Easy relaunch, fairly decent upwind drive. It's very stable. Something I like to look at a kite is which lines is it flying off of? How do those lines look where they're connected to the kite? What does it do in the gust? And these lines and the bridle system, they've talked a lot about how they tuned it for the version 3, and you can really see they spent a lot of time with that. I didn't really see any kind of weak spots. I didn't get any sense that it was flying off one set of lines more than the other. It felt very natural, intuitive. Kite was really quick turning. They did make a lot of really small quality of life improvements this year. They dealt with the strut diameter, they shrunk that down. That's going to reduce the weight. It's going to result in a faster turning, more responsive kite. They focused a lot on how the leading edge tension interacts with the wingtip tension. And it works. I mean, it's a stiffer, more responsive kite, and it feels really good. I was so stoked. Is this kite right for you? Honestly, I think for the majority of riders, you'd be really happy with this. There's probably kites that do all-around cruising riding better. Or if you're looking again for a discipline-specific kite, like something that's going to work well in the surf or with a foil, or just a dedicated big air boosty kite, you might want to then kind of go down the rabbit hole and find something discipline-specific. But for somebody who just wants that all-around kite that's going to do everything pretty dang well and give you a lot of stoke, this is it. So one thing I really like about this kite is when I'm coming out of a jump or some kind of freestyle trick, when I do pull down on the bar, it's kind of that sweet spot for me where the kite is pulling me forward and out of the trick. So it really feels like when you yank on the bar, it kind of snaps you out and keeps you moving forward. I can compare that to a kite like the Cabrina Moto, where I feel like when you pull down on the bar, it pulls you more downwind and the kite goes right through the middle of the window. That's nice for kind of like this reset, but I oftentimes find myself really yanking on that bar to drive that forward and pull myself out of the trick. This is going to be less of that. It's going to, when I yank, again, pull me still forward in my direction of movement. And then I think on the far end of the spectrum, there's a kite like the North Reach, where honestly I need to spend a couple minutes really dialing in my timing, because when I pull on it, I find it flies really far forward in the window. And if I'm not thinking about it, I'm almost always over rotating by about 15 degrees. This for me is that sweet spot. Other kites that have had that sweet spot for me, the Nash Pivot, I really like that kite, and the Duotone Dice. Those are kites that just really work well for my style of riding, and this kite fits right within that. I think it's why I'm so stoked. One other thing I really like about this Reedin kite is it uses the Liquid Force Max Flow adapter. I guess Liquid Force isn't around anymore, so it's now the Reedin Max Flow adapter. Sometimes brands don't include that specific nozzle. Reedin, in fact, has it right here on the back. So when you remove this from the zipper, make sure to pop your nozzle right here in this front pouch. In fact, I might recommend picking up a second one and just putting it in the car that you're always taking to your kite session, because this is a little bit more of a niche attachment. And it's a real buster if you don't have this with you. You are not going to be able to inflate this kite. I had that last year. It killed me. I had to drive 45 minutes round trip back to the shop and back to the beach. So yeah, that's a really nice little feature. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking us out. This has been Jake with MACkite.